I would like to introduce first Alberto Tomé. He is the Deputy Councillor of Sports for the regional government, Comunidad de Madrid. As you probably know, Comunidad de Madrid is a place that has hosted multiple sports events. Then we have with us Dana Reizniece-Ozola from FIDE. She is FIDE's managing director, but she will be acting as tournament director as well here in Madrid. Dana Reizniece es la directora ejecutiva de la FIDE. Ella también actúa como directora del torneo aquí en Madrid, en el torneo de candidatos. And we have with us Fabiano Caruana, Grandmaster. Probably all of you know him already. He won this tournament in 2018. He became the challenger and played a match with Magnus. Fabiano Caruana fue ganador del torneo de candidatos en el año 2018. Él jugó un match con el campeón del mundo, Magnus Carlsen, en Londres. Y ha tenido la gentileza de acompañarnos hoy en este acto, que es realmente algo que significa mucho para nosotros, porque no es habitual que los jugadores quieran participar en este tipo de actos justo antes de que comience el evento, ¿no? Ha sido una cortesía por su parte. Se lo hemos pedido también porque es el jugador local, en cierto sentido, porque él vino a vivir a Madrid en 2004, cuando era todavía un chico. Sus padres todavía tienen una casa aquí en Majadahonda y él suele venir de visita bastante a menudo. Entonces es lo más cercano que tenemos a un jugador local, ¿no? Vamos ahora a reproducir un vídeo de presentación que hemos preparado y luego vamos a dar el turno de palabra al señor Alberto Tomé para que os dirija unas palabras.
No, pues muy buenos días a todos, good morning, y muchas gracias por estar aquí en Madrid, esta comunidad que es una región de acogida. Muchísimas gracias a Dana, la directora del torneo, y también por supuesto al gran maestro, a Fabiano, que le sentimos un poquito español y también un poquito madrileño. Bueno, en primer lugar, daros las gracias a todos los medios por estar aquí en esta presentación de este torneo mundial de candidatos de ajedrez Madrid 2022, que vamos a acoger en la Comunidad de Madrid y precisamente aquí en este magnífico Palacio de Santoña que nos encontramos. Es un honor compartir con todos ustedes los detalles de este gran evento por el que apostamos firmemente desde la Comunidad de Madrid, desde el primer día, desde que nos invitaron a participar. No dudamos ni un momento, y hacerlo junto a Dana, gerente de la Federación Internacional de Ajedrez, directora del torneo y gran maestra de ajedrez, y además también del presidente de la Federación Española de Ajedrez. Como les decía, cuando vimos la oportunidad de que la Comunidad de Madrid acogiera este torneo mundial de candidatos de ajedrez, no lo damos ni un momento. Y aquí estamos a punto de que se inicie mañana este gran campeonato con el que el ajedrez, uno de los juegos que sin duda más ayudan al fomento de los valores esenciales del deporte, va a poner a la Comunidad de Madrid en el foco mundial de jugadores y aficionados de este gran deporte. Y esto va a ser posible gracias a los 8 magníficos grandes maestros del ajedrez como nuestro campeón, como Fabiano, que estamos convencidos que van a hacer que este magnífico torneo sea recordado por muchísimo tiempo. Saben ustedes del interés que tenemos en la Comunidad de Madrid por impulsar iniciativas como este torneo que permiten difundir los valores del deporte, los valores que desde la Comunidad de Madrid creemos que son esa gran palanca de cambio social de nuestro tiempo y de nuestras vidas, y que también, y cómo no, suponen un gran impacto económico y social en nuestra región. Y este torneo, que como ustedes sabrán y luego les comentarán, va a ser retransmitido en directo por las 2 mayores plataformas de ajedrez, como son chess.com y chess24. Va a llegar muy probablemente, y según las estimaciones, a cerca de 2 millones de espectadores que estarán conectados una media de 4 horas al día durante este torneo. Comentarles que en la Comunidad de Madrid contamos con 1.817 ajedrecistas federados y con 56 clubes. Pero ya no solamente el deporte federado y los clubes, sino también la gran afición que tenemos en la Comunidad de Madrid. Contamos con muchísimos aficionados que se practica con todas las edades, y que a los niños, y esto para nosotros es fundamental, les permite iniciarse en esos valores que transmite el ajedrez, los que les hablaba al principio, como son el respeto, la disciplina, el afán de superación y la disciplina. Y precisamente en torno a este campeonato también se van a celebrar otro tipo de actividades dirigidas a los adultos y también a los niños, para los que no lo conozcan puedan acercarse a este gran deporte y descubrir las posibilidades de diversión que se les puede ofrecer, mientras a su vez van adquiriendo esas habilidades y esos recursos que les van a ser útiles en su día a día. Y voy terminando ya, reiterando de nuevo mi agradecimiento por su presencia a la directora, a Dana, también el agradecimiento que haya sacado un ratito a Fabiano para estar aquí con nosotros, y como no puede ser de otra manera, le deseamos todo lo mejor a los participantes de este torneo. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Alberto. Un apunte sobre un dato que has mencionado respecto a la transmisión. Una noticia un poquito de última hora es que el torneo se va a retransmitir también por CCTV, el canal chino, lo cual es una noticia muy importante porque nos garantiza una audiencia extra de más de 1 millón de personas al día. Es algo que nos tiene muy contentos, ¿no? Es importante para la promoción del torneo, del ajedrez y de la Comunidad de Madrid. Voy a pasar ahora la palabra a mi jefa, a Dana Reizniece-Ozola, que ha hecho un trabajo magnífico poniendo este evento en marcha con menos tiempo del habitual. Todavía estamos arrastrando un poquito las consecuencias de la pandemia. El evento no se confirmó hasta el 28 de diciembre. Y encontrar una sede y preparar un equipo con la mitad de tiempo del que habitualmente tenemos realmente tiene mucho mérito. Dana.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Alberto, for such a warm, welcoming speech. Fabiano, thank you for being here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of FIDE and the whole organizational team of the FIDE Candidates Tournament 2022, I'm very happy to be here and greet you at this opening press conference of this event. Those who come from the chess world do understand and can appreciate that this is the most important tournament, but the World Chess Championship match itself. And especially the players themselves can appreciate very well that there is no easy way to the top of the Olympus of the chess world. Before coming here, and here we will be hosting 8 of the most powerful, the strongest chess players in the world. Before that, they have been already working a lot the whole year round, qualifying for this event. They are the winners of the Grand Swiss tournament held in Riga. They are the winners of the Grand Prix Tour, 3 tournaments in total. They are the winners of the World Cup. They are the best according to ratings, and only one is has been granted a wild card. So the top of the top, who have been proved to be the strongest at this very point. It is interesting that during this tournament we will have 3 new potential challengers for the first time. 3 players are playing. That is Christoph Duda, that is Rapport, and that is, help me, the third one? And Alireza, yes, one of the young, strong talents. 2 players are here for the second time. I mean, not for the second time, but the ones who have already been in the role of the challenger. So Fabiano himself and Jan Nepomniachtchi, the previous years trying to dethrone the world chess champion. So probably having already more experience and knowing the tricks how to win such kind of race, which is not going to be easy. 14 rounds, which means at least 56 exciting games to be played here, broadcasted to the whole world with the help of our colleagues and partners, chess.com and Chessable. I would like to use this opportunity and to thank the team, chess.com team, that has been working with us already several months before the tournament to set everything up here. And still will be working with us, helping also financially this tournament to take place. Scheinberg family, Chessable Comunidad, for not only the passionate welcome, but also for the financial support, which is very important because you've been voting for this tournament with your euro. So that's very, very valuable. And as for Madrid, usually it is the cities and the countries that rally or participate in the tenders for the events, yes, fight for the right. This time it has been the chess world that has chosen Madrid as the place for this great event, and we are happy that we've done so because this is a special place with all our cultural and sports history. It is worth making Madrid the capital of the whole chess world for the following few weeks. We know and we have already seen that people from all over the world have been ready to travel to Madrid to be here, because when we opened the sales for the tickets, it was 10 minutes and none of the tickets were left. So it's our task now somehow to convene the message and try to tell the story to the world via our online tools. So last but not least, I want to also emphasize that it's not going to be only the professional event here, which is the most important part of the whole competition, but we will be trying also to reach out to the publics and organize various side events, like a Chess Kids tournament for the young talents will be organized in parallel here in the same premises, in the same venue, so that the young talents can breathe the air, probably not physically, but touch the stars, and be somehow encouraged to become the future champions. We will be organizing the Chess and Education Conference here. We'll be organizing the simultaneous exhibitions in the city. We'll be organizing some other activities on the streets so that the people here in Madrid and Spain also see and feel and understand how important the event is going on here. So my best wishes of luck to all the players. They will need not only physical but also mental strength, because this will be the real clash of the greatest minds over the few weeks, and the tension is normally really high. That's very interesting for the audience, but I can imagine how challenging and difficult it is for the sportsmen themselves. We'll try to do our best to accommodate them, to serve them, to make the playing conditions as favorable as possible so that they can concentrate on the main thing they have to do here. Playing chess, beautiful chess, fair chess, and doing that for the pleasure of the whole chess and non-chess society.
Next one to take the floor is going to be Fabiano Caruana. I don't expect you to make like a speech, but I would like to ask you something. There are a few journalists here who are covering chess for the first time, and I would like you to describe to them what it means to be playing a tournament like this. What is the tension that Dana mentioned before, how it is playing this tournament and from the sportsman point of view.
Yeah, I think that the tension of this tournament is only really one-upped by the World Championship match. And for me, that was probably the highest tension I've ever felt in my life. Because of course, although chess is a game, it still feels massively important when you're in the midst of it. And I think the most important thing to understand is that all the players here, from their childhood, they've had one dream, which is to become world champion. So everyone here is working as hard as possible, not just in the last year since they qualified for the tournament, but in the last 20 years, or well, in the case of some players in the tournament, they haven't been even alive 20 years. But pretty much their entire life has been devoted to chess and to this moment of winning this tournament and qualifying for the match. And even that is not the final step, of course, because even after winning this tournament, you still have the last and hardest battle. I mean, that explains the massive difficulty of this tournament. And the tension just comes with that. It accumulates, it starts from the first game, and it gradually progresses. And that's why I think the final games of this tournament are usually where the difference is made, where it shows who can handle the stress and tension best, because all the players here are quite similar in strength, I would say, or very close. And we usually see it in past candidates tournaments that the most important moments and the way the winner is decided is in the last few games and the last few days of this tournament.
Will you say that there was a before and after winning this tournament in your life? Did it make a big change?
Well, it made a big change for that year. It was actually, it was amazing, of course, to have the chance to play a World Championship match and to be able to prepare at that level and to devote all my time and resources into it with my team. And it definitely, helped my evolution as a chess player. But because I wasn't able to win the World Championship match in 2018, I can't say that it really changed my life too significantly. It was still an amazing opportunity, and I hope I'll be able to get it again. But I don't feel like my life changed so dramatically. I think it would have if I had won the match, but because I didn't, I think it more or less went back to normal chess player's life for me.
Vamos ahora a darnos la oportunidad de que hagáis unas preguntas, un turno de preguntas. Si alguno tiene una pregunta para Caruana, necesita que le ayuden con la traducción, pues me lo decís, me hacéis la pregunta en español y yo se la traduzco. We're going to open a round of questions. If you want to translate any, well, you don't need translation from English to English to Spanish, right?
No.
No, I mean Alberto.
Yes, I need.
Okay. Quien quiera hacer la primera pregunta, por favor. Leoncho.
Leoncho García from El País. My first question is to FIDE. Today, chess is in fashion practically all over the world. That means good communication is more important than ever before, and the top players should cooperate, logically thinking, to that. In any other sport, not having the 8 participants at the initial press conference will be unthinkable. My question is why the other 7 players are not here?
That would probably be the question to the players. No, but Leoncho, Mr. Garcia, I fully agree with you. In order to get attention to your sports and raise the funding, raise the interest of the society, it is very important that chess and their superstars go beyond the borders of the small, very nice, very precious, but still limited world of pure chess. So the greatest players have to play their role. They have to interact more with the community, be more proactive and open, and spend their time and energy. And this is something that I fully agree that in the chess world we're still lag behind, because we have this tradition, which is understandable, because chess is a mental sport and the players have to concentrate very strongly. As Fabiano said, all of them are, similar. They are the best talents. They have been working a lot. They are very strong. And then it's all about the mental strength that probably makes the difference during the tournament. So that's why they always want to be concentrated and focused only on the main thing. But I hope that with the time, and this is something that I will also personally try to work on and convince the chess society, with the time we will let our leaders, our leading players also understand that them being more involved in the social activities actually is in strong favor and benefit to the chess. And at the end of the day, everyone will be the winners. The prizes could be bigger, the interest could be bigger, the audience might be much larger than it's today. We have to show our superstars to the people. We have to show that they are not, you know, the super grandmasters, very smart ones sitting somewhere there. We have to show their human personalities, their flaws, their mistakes, their, you know, personalities, so that every spectator, every person can associate themselves with these stars. So the short answer, we didn't want to disturb the players before the great tournament, so that they can concentrate in it. And then thank very much Fabiano that he's sharing his time with us.
Mike Klein with chess.com and chesskid.com. My question's for Fabiano. According to my research, you've played in 4, this will be your 4th candidates, which makes you at least the candidates veteran. No one else has played in 4 that's here. Because this is essentially a winner-take-all tournament, not counting some cash considerations, I believe all of the players view it as winner-take-all. Have you noticed in the first 3 iterations that you've changed your style at all, considering that maybe +1 or +2 is just not good enough? Or do you pretty much play the same style? I'm not talking about openings, but your overall style. Does it change in these candidates, being a winner-take-all event?
Well, I don't know if that's the right strategy. Because of course it is, everyone is only fighting for first place, and there's really no point in anything else besides first. But if you try to, you know, like, you can't will wins into existence. You're not playing against players who will just roll over. So the best approach is probably more or less to be patient and not to, you know, panic if you don't start winning games right off the bat. I mean, in 2018, I did, I think, start winning games right from the start, which was very good. But it's still, like, 2 games before the end, I was not in the lead. You know, Karakin was in the lead on tiebreak. So, and he had lost his first few games. So I think that shows that it's more about patience, because you don't know when your chance in this tournament will come. It's 14 rounds. You can start badly and still have a good chance. You can start poorly and you can start well and things fall apart. That we've seen that also happen to players in the past, that they have tremendous scores and it just doesn't work out. Like, I think there was one candidate where Ronin was on +4 along the one which Magnus won in 2013. And also where, like, Magnus and Kramnik were on +4 before the last round, and +4 wasn't even clear if it would make it, you know. So it's very unpredictable. It's not certain that you know, starting well will guarantee victory, or that that you have to push for wins right from the start. So I think we've seen that patience and waiting for your chance is usually the strategy that pays off for most of the past winners.
And according to some research that my chess.com colleagues have done, in the last 100 classical games, you have the least variance between white and black. Your TPR between white and black is only a 5-point difference. Does that surprise you to know that about yourself?
I didn't really pay attention to it. I haven't thought about it much, but I guess it makes sense. It's still, I think, a small sample size. And there probably wouldn't be huge variance for most players between white and black, I would guess, because in modern chess these days, the gap between the difference in color has narrowed a bit. I think, and I've spoken to players of, you know, past generations who were saying that, you know, in the 80s and 90s, they basically were in a panic of what to do against e4 on the first move. They just didn't have openings, because it was like, what do you play? How do you survive against Kasparov playing e4? And now with the advent of computers, we know that so many openings are playable, and you have a wide choice of how to play with black pieces. So it doesn't feel so much like white is the advantage that it used to be. But yeah, I haven't seen the exact statistics of every player, so I don't know how that pans out in practice.
If I may, just to follow up with this topic, the strategy of games, I would like to also ask Fabiano, for those who probably don't know and do not come from the chess world, the overall prize fund for this tournament is 500,000 euros. But I think what is interesting is it is the way how the prizes are distributed. There are the first, second, and third prize, but then each player gets additional 3,500 euros for every half a point scored. So the idea was to motivate them to play for the win rather than to make several draws waiting for the right momentum to probably get a point and a lead. So does this really influence when you think about your strategy, how you build your playing strategy during the tournament?
Well, I think many tournaments have adopted systems that encourage more decisive results. We've seen football scoring system adopted in some tournaments. We've seen even recently in Norway chess, they have this Armageddon tiebreaker at the end of draws. But in this tournament, there's only one motivation, which is to win and qualify for the match. And I don't actually look at the prize funds in this tournament. I didn't know what it was until you mentioned it, because anything which isn't first place to me would be considered a disappointment. But normally speaking, for tournaments, of course, money is a motivator, and players will try to fight for more money. So a system which encourages more decisive results makes sense.
Question for Fabiano. The Candidates tournament is usually a tournament where only the first prize really counts to qualify for the match. How do you estimate the chances that the second place will also bring it to the World Championship match? And do you think this will play a role in your tournament?
Well, I don't really buy into what Magnus says, although he usually speaks his mind and speaks honestly. And just to give it some context, he said that he's not certain to play the next World Championship match, depending on his opponent. I don't really know what that means, and I didn't give it much consideration. And also, maybe it's based on his feelings at the moment, but those feelings could change. If I were in his position, there's no way that I would not take up the challenge, regardless of who wins the candidates and who qualifies. To me, I think it's a World Championship match is a unique challenge in itself, and I would look forward to it. I mean, obviously from my position, but also if I was in his position, and I understand it's a bit different because he's been in that spot more than anyone in modern chess. But to me, I look at this tournament as still only a first place will qualify.
But would it help if Magnus clarifies his position before the start of the candidates?
Well, I mean, to me, it's still strange. Like, how do you play for anything which is not first place? I mean, it can, as a happy accident, second place could play a match, but you would never play for anything besides first place. So maybe it would only maybe be like, just a lucky break for one player, but not something to aim for.
Buenos días, Daniel Pérez para el diario AS. Mi pregunta es para el viceconsejero. Quería saber cómo ha sido el proceso de selección de este Palacio de Santoña como sede del torneo y qué otros lugares se han barajado para celebrarlo. Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Bueno, la decisión la han tomado los organizadores. Creo que con muy poquito tiempo estuvieron barajando otras opciones. No sé si David lo puedes explicar mejor, y al final se decidió por este magnífico.
Sí, como comentaba al principio, veníamos arrastrando un poquito la incertidumbre que rodeaba la pandemia, ¿no? Esto ha afectado a todos los que trabajamos organizando eventos deportivos, y este evento no se confirmó hasta finales de diciembre. Entonces, las opciones de encontrar un local con suficientes espacios como requiere este torneo, porque no solamente la sala de juego, ¿no? Hace falta espectadores, sala de prensa, un estudio de televisión, básicamente, donde se monta este show para retransmitir el torneo. Entonces, no era fácil con tan poquito tiempo encontrar un local disponible de estas características, con todo este espacio, que esté disponible durante 3 semanas. Ese fue el desafío que tuvimos que solventar. Dana estuvo inspeccionando varios locales aquí, algunos no funcionaban, no tenían disponibilidad durante todo el tiempo, siempre había alguna fecha que estaba tomada y de repente nos enseñaron este local que no lo conoce mucha gente de Madrid. Mucha gente, cuando pasas por delante no parece un palacio, ¿verdad? Es muy discreto por fuera, muy bonito por dentro y cuando lo vimos pues nos enamoramos. Seguramente Dana ahora quiere añadir algo, pero I was just explaining to them.
I don't understand everything, but the short answer is that if you have the chess kings, you need a palace, right?
Yo tengo una pregunta. Soy Ivette García, de Chesquid en Español, desde México. Una pregunta para el viceconsejero de la Comunidad madrileña. Por la magnitud del evento hay un impacto económico, ¿no? A través del turismo y por el ajedrez. Mi pregunta es si este evento va a marcar un antes y después en el ajedrez madrileño.
Por supuesto, esa es la idea por la que apostamos firmemente por ser patrocinadores de este evento. Nosotros apostamos por todos los deportes. Está claro que queremos impulsar y dar visibilidad al ajedrez. En el momento, como os decía anteriormente, que nos ofrecieron este torneo, vimos la gran posibilidad, por una parte, de impulsar y dar visibilidad a este deporte, por el que apostamos firmemente desde la Comunidad de Madrid, pero también para que la Comunidad de Madrid también vimos una oportunidad para que se convierta en el centro de atención mundial y poder ofrecer, pues, como bien conocéis y durante estas 3 semanas que vais a estar aquí, Madrid es una región muy acogedora y toda la oferta que tenemos, no solamente en la ciudad de Madrid, que lo conoceréis bien, sino en toda la región, esa oferta gastronómica, esa oferta cultural, esa oferta también de ocio. También os animo a recorrer todos los parajes medioambientales que tenemos en la Comunidad de Madrid y, por supuesto, lo que comentabas anteriormente, también ese impacto económico que supone por las pernoctaciones, por las comidas, por todo lo que supone este gran evento. Así que, obviamente, vamos a apostar firmemente para que este torneo también se pueda sentar en la Comunidad de Madrid.
Una cosa que me gustaría añadir a lo que ha dicho Alberto es que la Comunidad de Madrid, no solamente la ciudad de Madrid, sino la Comunidad de Madrid tiene una gran tradición ajedrecística. La última vez que un evento del ciclo por el Campeonato del Mundo se celebró en España fue el torneo, la final de candidatos de 1993, que se jugó no en la ciudad de Madrid, sino en el Escorial, en el monasterio del Escorial. Y Madrid tiene una tradición enorme de albergar eventos deportivos y culturales. En ese sentido, estamos muy satisfechos de formar parte de esta enorme oferta que tiene la Comunidad de Madrid en el terreno del deporte y de la cultura.
Mike Klein, still with chess.com. My question is for the 2 FIDE officials, Dana and David. I know you're not going to give me a real answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. What would be the dream World Championship match from a FIDE perspective as far as eyeballs? We could have Magnus versus Alireza. We could have a repeat, the rematch, you know, Fabi playing Magnus. We could even have potentially Fabi playing Hikaru if we take Magnus at his word that he may not defend. So what would be the dream World Championship for breaking viewership records and all of the business opportunities?
For me, the ideal World Chess Championship match is a gentleman playing against the lady. One day this will happen. I promise you.
That's a nice way to do New York.
But as for this year, of course, my dream is that Magnus is playing against the challenger that stems out from this tournament. And if he decides not to play, then he would not use the argument that you know, the challenger is not strong enough or interesting enough, because I believe that he is a chess player, the greatest chess player, the world chess champion, and and one of the things that chess teaches us, it is the respect to your opponent. So I believe that he is the person who has to demonstrate to the world that we always have the respect to our opponent. And if somebody has been going through all these pre-selection stages and have won the qualification rounds, namely this candidates tournament, then he deserves to play the match against the strongest player in the world, which is Magnus Carlsen today.
I think in my role as the storyteller, I think each one of them has a story. I mean, each one of the candidates, the 8 of them are worthy opponents for the world champion. And there is a story that you could tell about each one of them. The debutant, the youngest one, if Fabiano qualifies again to play the match, he has already played Magnus and he knows what he has to do. So in each case, we can tell a very nice story. So we all want to see a World Championship match. It's the most exciting tournament, the most exciting chess event. And each one of the 8 players, they deserve to be there.
Muy buenas. Fermín de Calle del periódico. David, yo quería preguntar a ti o a Dana, ¿qué reto supone para la FIDE, después de superar el COVID y ya con Dean, por ejemplo, aquí jugando, un torneo de candidatos como este, que probablemente sea con jugadores más jóvenes de la historia, lo que garantiza que estos jugadores vamos a verlos durante muchos años luchando por el cetro de la corona mundial y entre ellos?
¿Cuál es el reto que supone?
¿Qué grado de desafío supone para vosotros presentar al mundo esta generación de jugadores y en este momento después del COVID?
What is the challenge for us to go forward with this event that is the youngest candidates tournament ever after the COVID and with all these new opportunities that we have?
I wouldn't say that there are challenges. There is actually a great pleasure coming back to the regular mode of the play. I would say that the whole year round has been very difficult. For example, one of the qualification tournaments, Grandmaster, was organized in Riga with more than 200 people playing together under the circumstances where there was a crisis with COVID and huge restrictions in place in the country. But I think that was a great example that the chess players, their accompanying persons, the organizers showed the great discipline and the dedication to the goal just to allow the players to play the tournament and not to risk. And over the 2 weeks' time, we got 0 COVID case back then, yes, with all the precautious measures. So now it seems to be much better, but this doesn't let us sit back and relax. We will be following also cautious measures here. We will have also our COVID protocols here and hope that everything also will be finished without incidents. For us, it's very important to safeguard the players and allow them, as I said, to concentrate on their major task. And as I said, I think the fact that there was also such a huge interest from the chess society ready to come over and willing to be present here physically, that really much shows that we are hungry for the great chess events. We need them and need them more. And
Hola, soy Federico Marín de ABC. Quería saber también, entiendo las dificultades que ha tenido la FIDE y el poco tiempo, todo lo que habéis explicado, pero dado lo poco que duraron las entradas a la venta, si habéis estudiado otras soluciones, si os habéis arrepentido un poquito de buscar una sala para más público o algo parecido.
Sí, bueno, el principal inconveniente que tenía esta sede para el torneo es que el auditorio, como veis, no es muy grande y las entradas se agotaron literalmente en 80 minutos. Íbamos a enviar una circular a los clubes madrileños, íbamos a anunciar que las entradas estaban a la venta por redes sociales y no nos dio tiempo casi a hacer el paso 2, paso 3 y paso 4 de esta promoción, porque cuando hicimos el paso 1 las entradas ya habían desaparecido. Por un lado, da gusto ver que hay tanta afición, que había tanta expectación por el torneo. Por el otro lado, nos da mucha pena de la gente que no va a poder estar aquí y sí que estamos estudiando algunas alternativas. Hay un club privado que nos ha ofrecido albergar una especie de reunión para aficionados donde puedan ver las partidas juntos, comentar, jugar unas rápidas. Un club que está localizado aquí en la Plaza Santa Ana. Quizá hagamos algo con ellos. Estamos intentando buscar alguna solución De todas formas, el ajedrez hoy en día es un deporte que se puede disfrutar muy bien desde cualquier sitio, ¿no? Incluso yendo en el autobús, desde el móvil, puedes ver las partidas sin perderte nada. No necesitas verlo en una pantalla grande como el fútbol o como el tenis. El ajedrez es muy agradecido en ese sentido, que lo puedes disfrutar donde estés de una forma muy sencilla, no te requiere gran cosa, ¿no? Pero sí que vamos a intentar que el mayor número de gente pueda tener algún contacto con el torneo, con las actividades paralelas, con el torneo de rápidas que se va a hacer, con las partidas simultáneas. Vamos a intentar que los aficionados tengan actividad.
My question is to Fabi, please. In terms of huge experience, solid play, even openings, knowledge, and so on, you and other participants are clearly superior to Firuja. However, he became number 2 at 18. My question is, how do you evaluate his chances? I mean, do you see him mature enough to win this very specific tournament?
Well, it's hard to say, because of course he's not a very experienced player. He's super gifted, he's super strong, but he hasn't played in this event before, and it is a different event from the ones he's played in. But the first time I played the candidates, I was also not very experienced, and I got very close to winning it, with some things maybe going my way a bit differently than I would have won it on my first try. So I don't think that it's impossible for a first-timer to potentially win the tournament. And I think he's also quite smart in his approach to chess, how he prepares, he has a team, he takes things seriously. So I would say, of course, he has chances for sure. I think, let's say, his ascent to this world number 2 position was also a little bit of momentum. I don't think it fully, let's say, conveyed his level compared to the other players in the world. I don't think that he was at a higher level than other players in the world, of the top players. But momentum also carries you very far, and I've experienced this myself, and I think many players have. We've seen periods when one player has this push and goes to, let's say, 28-20 or 30, and I think many of the players in this tournament, for example, Nakamura at some point reached this 28-20 level, and around that same time also, players who aren't playing the tournament, but Grishuk and Giri and Wesley, many players had that push to like the number 2 position, to this very high level, and then there was some, let's say, adjustment. But it shows also that every player in this tournament is capable of playing at that level, so if they have it at the right moment, if they have it right now, then they can win. That's the most important thing, which is that the player also has that bit of momentum and luck on their side, which is necessary to win this tournament.
Vamos con las últimas preguntas.
Question is for Fabiano Caruana. Fabi, I guess you're kind of the closest thing we have to a Spaniard in the field since you've lived here. Any thoughts on representing a country you lived in when you were a teenager?
No. I mean, I love Spain, but I'm not going to represent Spain. I mean, my connection to the country is my parents have lived here for about 2 years. And probably it's the country I've most visited outside of the United States, I think. The first time I was here, it was also for a chess tournament. It was already 22 years ago, which makes me sound a bit old. But it was a youth tournament, the World Championship for, I think it was under 10 through under 18 at the time, the World Youth Championship. I think now it's even younger. Now they do like under 6 and stuff. But it was in Oropesa del Mar. And so I've been playing here and visiting here also for pleasure for the better part of 2 decades, and it's a beautiful country. I was really happy when I heard the news that we would be playing in Madrid, because not only do I visit here often and feel comfortable here, but it's also a great location for the players, and also I think for the spectators, because it's very important to have chess tournaments in, I think, major cities, and Madrid is certainly a major city and a beautiful one.
So will your mom be cooking for you?
No, I'll be staying in the city, and they live a bit outside the city.
Bueno, vamos a ir dando por cerrado el acto. Gracias a todos otra vez por acompañarnos aquí. Muchísimas gracias por vuestra presencia, Alberto, Dana, Fabiano. Thank you very much.